And please be aware that this call is being recorded and will also be available for you to check out later in our Horizen podcast. Also, please remember to ask your questions on Menti. We are going to be providing the link over here for you to ask any questions to the team. So let's kick it off right away with our first update from the engineering department. And I'll pass the word now to Ana Julia to provide us the engineering updates. Welcome, Ana Julia.
Thank you, Angie. Happy Monday to everybody as usual. So last week we worked on various activities. One of them consisted in continuing supporting the testing of the upcoming release on testnet. The issue that was previously identified that was related to the fact that the get block template wasn't checking for updated certificates in mempool was fixed. Another thing we have been working on was a document with text specifications for our partners who will need to upgrade their existing integrations with us when we'll go live with Zendu. Basically, this is a document that details the differences between Zendu and Zendu. And the first draft was created and it's currently being refined. Then about the Darling paper, which we published last month, we were also able to include the proof section. Plus, we are applying additional enhancements. So we aim to publish the revised version of the paper in the next few weeks. Finally, the last updates for today are about the ZK audit chain, where we are moving on with the changes on the circuit requested during code review. So I believe this is all. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Ana Julia. Let's continue with Jonathan to provide us the growth updates.
Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. We're making good progress on our blockchain basics ebook. So I had a meeting with our copywriter last week. We've actually created all of the text so far. So now we're working on creating the test your knowledge sections, which will be an online quiz where you could test your knowledge. And lastly, once that's done, we have to actually put all of the text and images together in a way that looks good. So it's more of a visual kind of final touches. And at that point, we'll be able to release the ebook to the public. So making good progress on our end, and hopefully I'll have some more next week. Thanks. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Jonathan. Next, we have Vano on the BD and operations side.
Thanks, Angie. So I'm happy to announce that Bittrex added USDT peer for us, in addition to already existing USD and BTC peers. Bittrex is the oldest partner for Horizen, supporting the project from its beginning. And they are also a member of Bitwise Real 10 volume ranking. And they're also one of the venues for Zen users in US and in Europe to trade Zen. That's all from me. Back to you, Angie.
Thanks, Vano. Now let's welcome Lucy for the marketing updates.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. So we announced our latest white paper last week. The white paper is about Darling, which is a recursive ZK snark that our engineers created to handle the computation of blocks and epoch proofs in our latest lattice sidechains. So it is designed specifically to be more efficient than other proof systems in a way that preserves the user privacy. And the purpose of the Darling is to allow people to build on Horizen while keeping their data secure and selectively private through zero-knowledge technology. It also increases the performance of our Zendu and makes it more usable for any blockchain use cases. So you may have heard of it from our engineering team in our previous insiders. So we officially announced it last week, and you can see the announcement in our newsroom at horizen.io/news. And if you're really technical and would like to get down to the nitty-gritty of the tech, check out the Darling white paper itself. And also a couple weeks back, we announced our partnership with Morpheus Network. Through this partnership, we will work with Morpheus to integrate blockchain and provide zero-knowledge based privacy technologies into supply chain. We will build a blockchain to act as a notarization layer to automatically record each step in the supply chain process while keeping sensitive information secure and private. So this Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to host a live AMA with the Morpheus Network. So we have invited their co-founder and CEO, Dan Weinberger, to the AMA. Rob will be there too. The AMA will be live streamed on our YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, we are collecting questions from our community, so please check out our social media feeds for more information. And then there's another AMA tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Bitcoin.com exchange Telegram. So Vano will be representing Horizen. If you are available tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, please head to the Bitcoin.com exchange Telegram channel to show your support. And lastly, we are going to announce a very exciting partnership later this week with another major and popular blockchain project everyone knows about to find out what the project is and what the partnership is about. Keep your eye on our social media feed and make sure that you are also subscribed to our newsletter so you'll be the first one to find out. And that's it from me. Thank you. Back to you, Angie.
Thanks, Lucy. Now let's welcome Rosario for the product and engineering section.
Sorry for the delay. I was having a hard time finding the mute button. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Our focus area for this week and upcoming weeks is the support of the Zendoo delivery and for our supporting tools to be in place for the testing on the parallel testnet. So that's coming very, very soon. And we are all hands on deck to make this happen successfully. We are also working through the communication plan with our level 1, level 2 partners to ensure we have proper support for the Zendoo launch this fall. So this is a team effort from our BD with Bono, Chronic Infrastructure, Angie from the PM side, and of course, Zane has been ramping up to support this activity as well. So it's and of course, engineering with providing the technical instructions for our partners to support the Zendoo upgrade. So a lot of activity and to support the Zendoo delivery. I also put a call out in the Zendoo channel on Discord just to give you early visibility on that we will be requesting community developers to test Zendoo on the parallel testnet. So that's coming very, very soon, guys. Would love your help. And we'll be adding HDE bounties. But in the meantime, if you're interested, please ping me on Discord and would love to have your input and would love to see if any of you guys can break our Zendoo on the parallel testnet. So help us out, guys. Just shifting gears a little bit for active projects, we are working with Celsius. We have a weekly session with them. Right now, we will transition on just providing instructions and support on how the ZK audit nodes will be run and just prepping that for when we go live with ZK audit. From a milestone perspective, we have milestone 2 near completion, and we are in progress with milestone 3. So we're making really good progress and happy with our development there. That's it. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you so much, Rosario. Let's continue with Rob with the leadership updates and the Q&A session. Welcome, Rob.
Sure. Thank you, Angie. Okay, so circling back to one of our main focuses as an organization, obviously the big focus, the big top priority you've already heard about today and some of the updates from engineering to product and all of the dependencies and things that are going on to make that a successful launch. But the other big priority that I'm focusing on is organization building. And this is just based on the fact that the reality that we realize now is we probably need to double the team size across some really key parts of the organization, and even create new parts of the organization. Some you've heard about over the years and months that we've been talking about that we know we need, like dev evangelism. Others that we're just now, as we're looking at how other organizations in the space are operating, we realize, wow, we could use a little bit of that too. And others just being consistent with proper software development. As organizations grow, we know we need some things like QA testing. All right, so just to say now, what we're doing is we are circling back and we are being a little bit more aggressive on just opening up positions. We need to expand the capacity of our HR organization so that we can successfully find, attract, screen, and onboard, and then train people as they come into the organization. So this is really like a big focus. And I can talk about some of the areas that we are looking to hire, and then you can see some of the roles already open that we've been trying to attract some people into, and others are yet to open, but just pay attention, you'll see them come live. So some you've heard of. We're expanding some of our business functions, like the marketing team. So the marketing team just brought on some content creation talent, and we know we need to expand further. So as an ecosystem, like every day when I open up my Crypto Panic and I'm just scrolling through the feed, I'm not seeing a lot of Horizen news. This will change. This will change significantly as we open up the ecosystem, as we deliver our foundational technology. But in advance of that, we know we need to beef up our team so that we have just a core kind of content creation machine that then obviously has other layers around that, like our Horizen Evangelist program, other partners, just PR partners, marketing firm partners, influencers, and it's kind of like an onion you can peel back, and we know that we need many layers of it. So now we're just working through the mechanics of who are we looking to hire, why are we looking to hire them, how are they going to fit into the team, how do we spin them up quickly, train them, what personas are we looking for. It gets a little complicated when you start thinking big picture. And by big picture, the other organization within an organization we need to create here is the dev evangelism team. This is something that we want to attract top talent and get this team in place now so they can be trained and just get them in the weeds, into the trenches, I would say, immediately on creating developer documentation, tutorials, videos, and just make sure that they're smoothing the path so that when we actually deliver Zendoo, PGD, Lattice, and other releases on top of that, we have as smooth of a kind of entry, like on-ramp into the ecosystem as possible. And we have a team there that is actively promoting it, and a team there that people can go to for leadership on being able to come in and do productive things right away. We know we need a bunch more Java devs. We have an SDK that's written in Java, and applications are going to be written in Java. We need Java devs. We're trying to hire. We've been hiring. We've been doing that successfully, but it's just one of these things that's probably going to be an open item indefinitely, right? We are a zero knowledge focused project. So our organization has some of the top ZK talent in the industry. And this is something we know we need to beef up significantly because this is our bread and butter. And just to motivate this, so Polygon, here's just a quote from Polygon. Polygon, another project in our industry, for those that don't know, check it out. It's we need to learn from others that are out there and see what they're doing. But they say Polygon has further committed $1 billion from its treasury to ZK-based solutions. We consider ZK cryptography the single most important strategic resource for blockchain scaling and infrastructure development, and we have a clear goal of becoming the leading force and contributor in this field in years to come. Well, so do we. We agree with them, and we already are one of the top organizations in the industry with this technology, and we are only beefing that up. So we know we need to hire more cryptographers, more cryptographic engineers, and really focus on scale here, because this has thus far been a very niche area. And we know that if this is going to be a key component of the industry at large, we need to think scale, not just adding kind of like linearly, but think scale. How do we add tools? How do we add people? They can create tools and processes that we can unleash other developers to come in here and build using these tools. We need more DevOps. Poor Chronic and Luigi have been carrying too much of the load for too long. So we are also going to be beefing up DevOps. We now, as an organization, hit a level of maturity where, yeah, sure, it would have been nice to have some QA testing, previously, and we've been doing this in different ways, like integrated directly into our team. But now what I want to do is I want to explore the idea of setting up a dedicated QA testing team itself so that we could do more formal testing just in everything that we do, right? This needs to be baked in from the very start into, as soon as we consider a design for some project or product, we need to bake into the baseline for that development or QA testing plan. BD team is looking to expand and bring in some key management personnel as well, kicking that off with a key leadership position for Dean's team. And this is one area that we haven't really been going to a lot of weeds with yet, but we're thinking organizationally makes a lot of sense because other projects do it, and they call it different things across the industry, and we have elements of it piecemeal, but we haven't really rolled it out in a coherent program thus far. Not saying others have either, but what we're thinking is to be truly effective, we want a dedicated ecosystem growth team, something that can really, from an umbrella, like overarching perspective, manage and coordinate a bunch of different programs that are really important. Things like our Zen Ventures initiative that we're talking about, bringing this consortium of different VCs into the ecosystem, a non-business oriented grant program. So maybe grants for just base R&D, right, into the ecosystem. Things like coordinating activities with a dev evangelist team, and just making sure that we increase the capacity of the organization and the ecosystem to deploy resources at scale. So here's a concept I've been thinking about recently, as I've been thinking about our organization scaling. You can just think of it from like a pure economics perspective of what is our ecosystem's capacity to spend? Pure and simple. What is our capacity to spend? We have resources at our disposal, and every block that's mined, there's that resource set that we have kind of ticks up, it increments up, right? And we need to figure out how to deploy these resources as productively as possible to get max bang for the buck to grow the ecosystem. Now, what is our ecosystem's capacity to spend? Well, realistically, we can't even spend $1 million a month productively right now. And that's why we've been accumulating, that's one of the reasons, the pragmatic reason of why we've been accumulating reserves, because we just can't productively spend. And this is me saying productively. And what I mean by productive here is not just finding the right developers, the right projects, but responsibly spend, because there's an organizational capacity component here that should not be overlooked. So keep this in mind when you hear about other ecosystems bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars or $1 billion that they want to spend on ZK tech. Well, guys, this is a very small niche within a very small industry in the grand scheme of things. The ability for an organization to be able to productively, responsibly deploy $1 billion or hundreds of millions of dollars truly doesn't exist right now. I will argue that it doesn't exist. And there's diminishing marginal returns to scale in this just kind of org capacity perspective of the more money you get doesn't mean that you're going to be able to effectively deploy it. And realistically, the most important projects are the ones you're going to fund up front if you're rationally funding projects, right? However you decide to rank order them. And then on the margin, as you scale out there, as you spend more money, it gets harder to, number one, find high quality projects that actually make sense to invest in. And then even have the capacity on your own team to screen, to monitor, to make sure that you have successful deployment of capital and successful post delivery operations going on. There's a lot here, so I'm not trying to belabor this point, but the bottom line is, as an organization, we need to probably realistically 10x our ability to spend. And again, not wastefully spend. Sure, we can write a check, we can send a bunch of Zen or a stablecoin to anyone in the world. That doesn't mean that it's a productive, responsible use of funds. We are looking for max bang for the buck, because in this big industry right now, the way things stand, until Zen's $500 or $1,000 or $2,000, we are an underdog in this industry, just given our resource bundle, and also given the maturity of our platform rolling it out there, while others are already knee deep in operations and attracting multiple projects every day into their ecosystems. We still need to deliver our core fundamental platform to the market and then do a whole bunch with it, right? So we need to be very judicious about how we deploy resources. And right now, the org capacity element is where we're also focusing on our team building. because it involves having a core group like our ecosystem growth team that can actually, effectively, build a funnel, screen from the funnel, work in coordination with the VCs that we partner with, right? And then do the monitoring, all the other stuff that's required once you give someone money to make sure that they actually use that money responsibly and effectively, right? We need to build out this team and focus on our org capacity. Org capacity also means the partnerships that we have. So this is like a big kudos to Dean and Casper's and the team that's been working on bringing in other VCs into our ecosystem. And we haven't made a formal announcement yet of who's coming in, but we have a very interesting list of VCs that are committing resources into the ecosystem. And building this partner set is really a key element of our org capacity story. We also need to set up a formal grant program for, say, like non-entrepreneurial things. Maybe someone doesn't have a business they want to do, but maybe they want to explore, Dandelion, some sort of or some sort of other like R&D project, or maybe there's a different component of ZK Tech that they want to take in a different direction. Well, we ought to have grant programs for things like that, right? That just have nothing to do with business elements, right? So we're doing all of this stuff simultaneously in the background. I really wanted to give you guys just an insider perspective of what's going on and really where we're focusing efforts right now. So final note, it sure does look like we're behind, right? The rest of the industry, and not by rest of the industry, because we are, we really are one of the top projects in the industry. And I'm not just talking from a market cap perspective, but the sophistication of what we're delivering, strategic vision, partnerships being supported by DCG, you name it, right? Having VC funded, software company within our ecosystems, and so you can look at that and say the product maturity or technology maturity, we're behind. And we're behind from an ecosystem perspective, for sure, we're behind. Whereas other ecosystems have hundreds or thousands of people building within them, we don't yet have that. But again, don't let the anxiety, overwhelm you. Again, like I said, every day going through my crypto panic feed, it sure does give me, I would say, a healthy amount of anxiety to feel a really like aggressive, man, I can't wait to, I love being in this fight, and I love being able to, plot our strategy to rapidly catch up on a number of areas. But really, our real org capacity to productively spend is phenomenal given the scope of where we're, given the maturity of where we are. And I think we have an amazing plan to expand that capacity so that by the time we get our technology, our platform to market, and we have useful tools that make it easier to build with our SDKs, we will be able to scale, and we will be able to scale fast. So we are thinking very strategic about all of this. And really, we're not all that far behind from some dimensions. And in other dimensions, we need to just, again, productive anxiety. We need to catch up. We need to be really aggressive with everything we do. And we need to be judicious with how we do things. Because right now we are operating in an environment where we have less resources than other people. And just from the technology perspective, we have a bunch of deliveries that we need to make sure are very successful, timely, and have big impact. So we're not just delivering code, we're also having a big impact because people are using that code and actually launching real projects to solve real problems in the world, for which people somewhere out there are willing to pay actual money for, right? And by actual money, I mean Zen. So anyway, guys, I'll stop here. And I know it's a bunch to take in, but this is an extremely exciting time for the project because this is that inflection point, and we are prepping for that inflection point. And I think we are very much on the right path.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob, for the updates. And thank you, everybody, as well, for contributing with your questions each and every week. So the first one is, why should someone build on Sendu instead of another platform, such as a competitor?
This is the most important question, and we are obsessed with trying to answer this in as powerful way as possible. So we have some technical reasons, and then there will be business reasons, there will be strategic reasons for people, and everyone will have their own reasons, right? So number one, we are launching a system that is massively scalable and low cost for people to build in. It gets the economics right in the sense that developers are incentivized directly for delivering their dApps in our ecosystem, because infrastructure, dApps, things that you build in Horizen, you actually have a claim just by the way the software is built and the crypto economics work out to capture part of the revenue flows that actually happen on your application or sidechains that you launch, right? So the way that we've built the architecture is one that has a parallel blockchain and blockchains environment, so things scale really well. If your application ever looked like it was starting to hit an environment where it was congested, you could launch another blockchain and you could just keep doing this in parallel. And the fact that you're not competing for basic infrastructure at, say, the application level with thousands of other developers that are coming in, you can own your own sidechain, or you can be one of a specialized set of developers within a particular sidechain, maybe like an NFT, enterprise-grade NFT sidechain as an example. That's its only function, and you could be a select group of developers that builds there, and that's not competing with, say, a DeFi sidechain, right? So the architecture is done really well, and then there's the organizational aspects, maybe strategic impact, maybe feature impact. So from the technology perspective, we are delivering privacy at the core of our tech stack, right? So zero knowledge focused technology that we're delivering. We're delivering, well, we have expertise in-house in this, but we're delivering tools for other people to be able to build using zero-knowledge cryptography. So this, I argue, will be a key, like really important thing of bridging blockchain into the real world outside of, and like DeFi is very much real, NFTs are very much real. They're awesome applications and use cases in our industry. But when you talk about supply chains, when you talk about digital invoicing, when you talk about, government agencies having transparency in the things they do, zero knowledge proofs will be at the core of that technology. Now, there's the soft stuff, and sorry to talk so long here, but the soft stuff will be things like being part of our Zen Ventures initiative, being able to work with a curated set of VCs that wants to fund growth of this ecosystem. You also have first mover advantage if you were to launch a DEX in AMM or Bridge or a peer-to-peer lending protocol, right? You could be the first mover in our ecosystem that needs all of these things, right? So there's a variety of reasons for why people might want to come in here. And we're going to be crafting this message much more clearly for specific use cases in the near future. But great question. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question is, what are the main differences between the Cardano-based sidechains on Horizen versus Cardano itself?
That's a good one. I don't know enough to give you guys a very clear answer, and we don't have Alberto on the call today to dive into that one. But I would say that just from speaking more about the similarities than the differences, is that we are similarly using Ouroboros as a proof of stake, peer-reviewed protocol for consensus. Now, some of the differences, so just from the core stack perspective, there's quite a bit of similarity because we use the same stack, the same proof of stake stack. But the huge difference, obviously, is that ours is interoperable with the Horizen ecosystem, with the main chain in particular. And Zen now can go back and forth between you. So you have a cryptocurrency that is traded all over the world and 50 plus exchanges, has real market value, pushing close to $1 billion in market cap. You have this natively onto any sidechain that you launch with us using the SDK that we're delivering. So again, using Ouroboros. In our case, Ouroboros Press. So you have some similarities, you have some differences. It really matters kind of the flavor of what you're looking for here. But maybe that's a great question that we want to publish like a blog post or something on. But thank you.
Thank you. And the third and final question is, Bitcoin maxis loudly shout that every crypto after Bitcoin is inherently a security. What protection or argument does Horizen have if the SEC starts asking questions?
If the SEC starts asking questions? I believe we have Dean on the line here, and I know Dean loves the regulatory questions.
You do? I'm here. I love it. So yeah, it's a great question. The question is, what would we do as a project if the SEC were to investigate whether or not Zen was a security? We've thought about this issue for a number of years, and we feel very comfortable with our position. I'm happy to walk people through it specifically. I've actually written an article about it, so I think at some point I'll link that in here. But so number one, we never did an ICO, so there was no token offering. The project was entirely bootstrapped by its founders, and the way that it raises funds is through the treasury. So there was no sale of Zen in order to raise money. Number one. Number two, we've had a number of different legal opinions, so third-party legal firms that analyzed Zen and whether or not Zen would be considered a securities under the Howey test. That's the name of the legal ruling that the SEC uses. And we've always come out with flying colors that Zen is not a security, or they're not able to say it's not a security, but in terms of the risk factors, we are as low risk as a token can be on par with Bitcoin. So really proud about that. That was the, actually I can't remember off the top of my head. That was a very prestigious law firm called O'Melveny and Myers, did it for a ratings council, crypto ratings council. So anyway, we've had a number of legal opinions and feel very comfortable with our position vis-a-vis US securities laws. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for answering the question. So that's a wrap. Thanks everybody for joining us at our weekly Insider. We'll see you all next Monday for the latest Horizen updates. Have a great week.